Hi everyone and welcome to Evie's Toy House. Today we're making a custom pony. Well, technically not a pony. We're going to be making Ocellus, one of the young six from season 8. Ocellus is a changeling and a student at a school of friendship. For this custom, we'll be using clay and also epoxy resin. Epoxy resin is something that only older teens and adults should be using. And when doing so, you should also wear proper safety equipment. Ocellus has a large head and a small snout, so we're going to use Potion Nova in a newly revised pony figure. Alright everyone, are you ready? Let's get started! The first thing we're going to do is remove the mane and tail. We will replace this with clay and resin. We're also going to trim a bit of the horn off. Ocellus does have a horn, but it's curved. Next, we're going to cut off the ears. Ocellus' ears point to the side, so we're going to need to change the shape. Using some acetone, we're going to remove the eyes. Actually, I forget their eyes don't come out with acetone. This is printed on with something different. Okay, so we'll have to paint over it. Using some oven-baked clay, let's go ahead and mold some ears. Add a new top to the horn, and then add a piece of scalp to cover the stubble in the back of her head. Next, let's make her neck fin. We're going to use a piece of clay for this, and then recreate it in resin. Same with the tail. We're going to create the shape first using clay. Here I'm using a dotting tool to score some grooves into the tail and neck fin. And here is the head so far. So we have the horn, which bends slightly backwards. We have the ears that point down, the kind of floppy little ears. We have a little piece of kind of scalp here to kind of cover up the hair, the remaining hair on the back of the head. Here is the mane, and so this is going to go kind of like this. And we are going to make this piece in epoxy resin. And here is the tail. So the tail is going to go just like this. And we're also going to make this in epoxy resin. And to do that, we need to first make a mold of this. So we are going to put our tail down in a container. Make sure it kind of stands up. And this one, we're going to put it lying down. And to create the mold, we're going to be using this reusable composing mold. We just have to melt it for a few minutes. We just have to melt it for about a minute or two, and then we can use it. Okay, so here is the melted composing mold, and we are going to slowly pour it in because it's quite hot. And also we want to avoid any large bubbles. Then we'll wait about an hour for it to set. While we wait, let's go ahead and paint the pony. But before we do that, we need to cure the clay. So instead of sticking this in an oven, I'm going to be using my heat gun. You're going to be careful and try not to melt the pony. Here, we're taking a small piece of clay and adding her back shell, and then curing it with a heat gun. Next, let's go ahead and paint the pony a light green color. We will need a few coats to get the paint on her body covered up. Right, the mold is done. Let's go ahead and take it out. Alright, so it is looking really good. So let's go ahead and take out the little clay pieces in here. Oh, almost. Okay, so there it is. Looking very clean on the inside. And let's take out this piece. And there it is. Let's go ahead and mix some resin. To color it, I'm going to be using Color Obsession Dusky Pink number 3. And we are going to use just a tiny bit because we want it to be transparent. I'm not even sure if this is too much. Okay, let's give it a try. After mixing the resin, we'll pour it into our molds to let it cure for 8 hours. While we wait, let's finish the painting. We're going to paint our shell red. The hooves a darker green. And with a Sharpie, we're going to draw in her eyes. To darken the lines, we're going to paint over it with black. Then we'll fill in the eyes with a darker shade of her body color. Add some pink spots to her shell. And then finish her eyes with more shades of green and 2 white dots. Okay, so here is the tail, and it is matte because our mold is matte. So we need to add one more layer of resin to make it shiny. And here is the back fin. Before we add the resin, let's paint the lines in the tail and fin with a darker pink color. Now, with UV resin, we're going to coat the resin pieces with a thin layer and cure it for 2 minutes under UV light. Alright everyone, and we are done! So here is Ocellus. Oh, take a look at her! So I think this new style of figure suits a changeling pretty well, since they have kind of a big head and a small snout. So here is an up-close look. So she has these really big green eyes, a horn that's curved to the back. She has ears that kind of point downwards. She has a little shell on her back hiding her wings. And her neck fin here we've recreated in resin. It's not as see-through as I would have liked, but it still turned out pretty good. And of course she has her tail. She kind of looks like a dragonfly. Look at that. I did go ahead and painted her hooves a darker green color. I think the contrast looks nicer. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add her to our collection of resin customs. Oh my goodness, this shelf is starting to look pretty cool. So let me know down below in the comment section what you think of my Ocellus custom pony. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!